Hey guys, Karen back here with a review for Batman, the New 52 Batman Annual 1. Now, this one is, it's in the whole Night of the Owls thing. It's going with that, I don't know what to call it. Yeah, it's an event, but it's just over the Batman books. And this one's called First Snow, and it's basically, it doesn't tie into the Night of the Owls that much. There's one thing that does, which I'll get to in a minute. But this is basically the origin of what is the new 52 Mr. Freeze, which, to be honest, he looks pretty much the same and has kind of the same attitude, but at the end there is a big reveal where you're like, that's pretty different, and that changes the character a lot. So I'm going to go through this. First of all, spoilers, if you have any interest in reading this, or if this is on your pull list and you just haven't got around to it yet, don't watch this video, because as I said, the ending is a huge reveal, and I'm going to talk about it, so yeah, don't watch this if you have any intention of reading this. But I would recommend it for those of you who don't. So from now on, spoilers. Continue at your own expense. Anyway, so first of all, I'm going to talk about Jason Fabok's, please correct me if I'm saying that wrong, art. I really like this art. I don't know if I've seen Jason Fabok's art before. It looks familiar. Like, I think I've seen it in another book, but not realized it was him. But he kind of reminds me of a mix between Frank Quietly and Tony Daniel. I know that's very different artists, but like he's got like the faces, like and the overall style like Frank Quietly, where it's very detailed in the expressions and stuff, but less bulky, less like bubbly like Frank Quietly, especially in All Star Superman. If you've read that, you know what I mean. And more like thin, like Tony Daniel's art, if you know what I mean. But anyway, I really like his art. The colors in this are very, well, I hate, no pun intended, but chilling, very cold colors, and it really adds to the atmosphere of the book. Anyway, getting into the story. The story is by Scott Snyder and James Tynon? I can't say that word right. Anyway, and it opens up with Mr. Freeze as a kid. I'm not sure what his name. Oh yeah, Victor. Can't believe I forgot that. But it opens up on Victor and his mother, and they're going to they're doing this. It's, from what I can tell, like a competition where they have to build the coolest and biggest snowman. Because and his mum is kind of like saying, "Oh, we got to build it, simple." And he's like, "No, we got to build it with all these cool things and stuff." And they're kind of having a dispute, but he eventually just goes with his mother. And there's this really sad scene where his mother's talking to him, and he's running in front of her, and like he's talking to her back. But then he turns around because she stops talking, and she's gone. She's fallen into the ice, and you think that she's died. That's the impression that you get, and then we cut back to in present time while the Night of the Owls is happening, and we find out that this wasn't revealed in the main Batman book, because I'm reading that and it didn't say anything about this. But at least I'm not sure. Anyway, I've only read them all once. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we find out that the owls have used Mr. Freeze's new formula to kind of like make the Talons, which are the owls' kind of cronies or whatever you would call them. They're the people that go out and kill all the people for the Court of Owls. They've used his formula to make all the Talons like alive, I guess, and bring them back to life. And Mr. Freeze is not happy about this, of course. So he starts off in Arkham City, and he does a really cool breakout, which is just, this is what I love about Mr. Freeze's character. His whole his calculativeness. I don't know. He's really stoic in what he does. He's very he's not one of those villains that's very boastive. He really just gets the job done, and you see this when he breaks out of Arkham Asylum just using a crayon. So that's pretty cool. When he breaks out, he goes straight to the Penguin's lair, because apparently in the New 52 universe, him and the Penguin are allies. Not sure if that was established. I always thought they didn't like each other. Maybe that's just a bias from the only time I've ever seen them meet other than this is in the Arkham Asylum, Arkham City game, and they hate each other in that. But they're a pair that you can see working together. He goes there, and the Penguin's been keeping his weapons for him. So he kind of has this conversation with the Penguin, gets his weapons back, and then we keep flashing back to Victor's like past life before, and we see him working at Wayne Industries, which is pretty new. I'm not sure if that was. No, I know that's not that's new. So Victor worked in like the cryogenic lab of Wayne Industries, and he was supposed to be developing like, what was it? I'm not sure. It's he's supposed to be developing uh, I'm not sure, but he's supposed to be developing something that he isn't. That he's saying yes, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, but he's really working on trying to get Nora back to life. You know the story of Nora if you're a Batman fan. Nora was cryogenically frozen, and he froze her because she had a serious heart condition, and he's trying to fix it. So he's working on that, and then he gets to Wayne Industries because apparently that's where Nora is held. And obviously we're back in the present now. And he has a little fight with Nightwing and Robin. Now this was pretty cool because Nightwing and Robin haven't. If you didn't know, I'm sure it's still in continuity that they were Batman and Robin. Damian and Dick were Batman and Robin still in this continuity. So they haven't really teamed up since Bruce took over the cowl. So it's really cool to see them in those stances again, but with Nightwing with his new costume and stuff. And they kind of had a fight, but obviously Mr. Freeze wins because he's awesome. And Bruce calls him up to, face him one-on-one. Now, he obviously doesn't know that Bruce is Batman. I don't know how he hasn't figured this out yet, but it's comics. It needs to be for the story. So he goes up to face Bruce, and obviously Batman's there. And then we flash back again to seeing Mr. Freeze when he was working for Wayne Industries. And he's like, I think, yeah, Bruce is like, no, we can't do this anymore. We figured out that you're not working on it and you can't work on Nora anymore. And Bruce really comes out as like a dick because he's like saying, no, you can't save your wife. You can't experiment on her. I won't let you. And you're like, why is Bruce being such a dick? Why won't he let Victor experiment on, this woman that he loved and that he's trying to bring back? Or at least that's what we assume. And Bruce is just like, no, we can't. And then he kicks him out, and Victor gets really angry. And then the accident happens where he changes his body, where he gets sprayed with all the nitrogen, I think it is. And he changes his body so that he can only live under cold conditions, which is obviously the birth of Mr. Freeze. And it's really cool because they say that Wayne Industries designs the suit that keeps him alive. Because he's like, oh, I can't, I have to help this guy that's just killed himself, even though I did fire him because he was doing the wrong thing. So Bruce Wayne creates the suit for Bruce Wayne, scientists create the suit for him that allows Victor to live, and then that bursts Mr. Freeze. So anyway, Batman and Mr. Freeze have like a battle, and it's kind of like evenly matched. They keep getting hits on each other, and eventually Mr. Freeze is like, "Why will you not let me see my wife?" And then Batman does, he gives the reveal, the difference between this Mr. Freeze and the old, before the new 52 Mr. Freeze, which is that Nora's not actually his wife. Nora is not actually Victor Freeze's wife. She's been cryogenically frozen for like 80 years. She was the first ever person to be cryogenically frozen. And Victor's kind of just attached, because he's had such a weird, he's just insane, basically. He's just another insane Batman villain. But his quirk is that he's obsessed with this idea of bringing this person back to life because it's never been done before. And he becomes so obsessed with this girl, Nora, who's the first ever person to be cryogenically frozen, that he's got it into his mind that for some reason they had a past life where they were wife and husband. So it's kind of negated the whole wife and husband thing. That doesn't exist anymore. He never went out with Nora, which I'll give my opinions on after I finish talking about the book as a whole. And then after that, we see that Mr. Freeze is kind of down. Because Batman's put him in his place. Then Batman beats Mr. Freeze, and it flashes back to, we see that Victor's mother actually didn't die when she fell in the ice. She got pulled out and stuff and everything, but she's still suffering from shock from the accident. And we get this whole scene where he's pushing along on the ice on a wheelchair, and they're talking a bit, and then they come across the hole where she fell, and he just pushes her in, and it's really messed up, but also really chilling. And I really like the ending. It just gives this extra creepy factor to Victor's character. Now, when I first read this, I was kind of angry because I was like, it really kind of destroys what Mr. Freeze's character was, where he was he was had good intentions. He had really good intentions, but the only way he could think to carry them out was by stealing things, by robbing from people, by fighting Batman, and it really, it's the Mr. Freeze character that the animated series birthed to, but then you kind of think about it and you're like, there wasn't really much place they could go with him. I mean, the only thing he could do was, eventually save Nora, or Nora not save Nora. Like, all the stories that could have been told without Mr. Freeze were told. So after a while and rereading this, I kind of changed my opinion and thought, maybe this new direction on Mr. Freeze as kind of a far more insane, far more obsessed person could work. Maybe they've got more stories to go with, especially involving his mother, which, again, that was probably my favorite part of the book, the ending, where he just has this thing where he's like, I want to, he somewhat, in some level, he enjoyed the idea of his mother freezing. It's just really fucked up and really just spooky, but I really liked it, and I don't know. The entire book is kind of like, I like that, I don't like that, I like that, I don't like that. There's like a bit where he, when he's escaping from Arkham Asylum, he puts nitrogen in his mouth and kind of blows it all over the place and freezes people. And at first, I was like, that's stupid, that's hokey. But then I realized, you know what? It's Mr. Freeze. You can kind of suspend your disbelief and be like, that could work. So this entire book, if you're a Batman fan, and especially if you're a Mr. Freeze fan, I'd highly recommend checking it out. But you don't really need it. It doesn't really tie into the Court of Owls that much. It's only that one thing that they used, his formula, and he's really pissed off about it. But it's more about retelling Mr. Freeze's origin and his intentions. And I really think they can go places with this Mr. Freeze character. As I said, that his suit hasn't really changed. I mean, every time you see Mr. Freeze, the artist takes a new... it takes a new, like, what he thinks the suit should look like. In this one, the suit is like, it's armless, so you can see his arms. It's just the actual chest piece that is keeping him alive, and obviously the goldfish bowl over his head. And I think that's pretty cool, but I know that next time he's introduced, if it's a different artist, he'll draw it differently. So yeah, my overall opinion on the book is that it's a really interesting book. It's very well drawn, and there's some really cool bits in it, but unless you're interested in the new 52 Mr. Freeze, there's no reason to pick it up other than for the art, because it has got cool bits in it, but the story is very generic. The only good thing about it is the reveal at the end, which I've just told you. So if you're listening, there's not really anything in the book that'll interest you in buying it. So yeah, that was my review and my thoughts on the first annual of the New 52 Batman, and I hope to... I've really got to sign out. Goodbye!